Hi folks, this is somewhat experimental, but join in if you'd like to. This is Albert. He might be here the whole time. I just want to kind of experiment with some mostly back releasing lower back and spine releasing poses, inversions, like simple ones like he's really playful right now. So downward dog, and then some back strengtheners for like some planks and stuff. So I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth and just join me, oofta, to whatever extent you'd like to. We're actually gonna start in downward facing dog. So I might come closer. Okay. So from tabletop, just come onto your hands and knees, spread wide the fingers. And I'm gonna bring them a little out ahead of my shoulder heads. So they're not straight under, but they're out ahead a little bit, okay? Knees are just below the hips. And then I'm gonna direct the eyes of my elbows forward or externally rotate my arms. And then energetically speaking, they'll stay that way, but they probably won't look that way if you were to look back at your own arm direction after this. Tuck the toes here. And then actually I'm gonna lengthen out my legs one at a time. So I'm just gonna like lengthen out, press down into my toes. And then do the same on the other side. Just for a second, take an inhale here. And then exhale, lift the hips up and back to your downward facing dog. Now my hands are really dry. So, they're a little slippery. So I'm gonna grip the outsides, the outer edges of my mat. And then I'm gonna press down and forward into my palms or into the grip that I have on the mat. And if Kitty were not here, I would let my neck relax. But this is the spot he's choosing. So as I press into the palms, it'll feel like your arms are straight. They may not look straight, but as long as they feel straight, that way I can help flatten out my upper back, prevent it from rounding, and then start to reach those heels toward the mat. They don't have to touch, but just to reach them that direction. You might even bend your knees. Bending your knees is an option. Really reach those hips up toward the ceiling. One more inhale. And exhale, just lower the knees right back down. Okay, bring those hands nearly underneath the shoulders. Spread wide the fingers. Release the tops of the feet. Inhale, cow pose. Dip the belly, lift the chest and tailbone. And then exhale, round the spine to cat. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. Inhale back to that neutral spine. Bring the knees to the outer edges of the mat, big toes together. We're going to sit back into a wide-legged child's pose, extending the arms out ahead of you and come up onto the fingertips. So those arms will be up and off the mat just naturally as you come up onto the fingertips and press into them a little bit. Jaw relaxed here as you breathe. This is both lengthening out the spine and even giving a little bit of a gentle extension to the spine, at least this version of child's pose. And then next, inhale, slowly begin to lift the hips, and we're going to come onto our forearms. Up to you. You can keep the forearms like this. Or sometimes I like to bring the palms together in more of a triangle. Hangnail. Okay? Kitty's interested too. So forearms down. And if your palms are together, I like to roll to the outer edge of each forearm. Okay? We're going to extend one leg back at a time, coming onto the toes, and then press into those forearms, again down and forward, similar to our downward facing dog, for a forearm plank. jaw relaxed. So here we're strengthening the back, actually strengthening the core, the muscles that surround the spine. So the lower back doesn't have to do all the work that we ask it to do, when really it should be our core. Keep breathing. Then lower the knees. I do it one at a time. And then I'm going to walk the knees in toward my upper body a little bit, and then tuck the toes. And then we're going to come into dolphin pose. So we're going to press down and forward on the forearms, so we're going to start to lean back. When you're ready, press into the forearms, down and into the forearms. Lift the hips up and back like you would with downward facing dog. Now again, pressing down and forward into the forearms. Allow the neck to relax. Releasing the lower back or the spine. Inverting, getting upside down. Jaw relaxed. One more inhale. Exhale. Lower down. Good. Bring the knees together. Release the tops of the feet. Sit back into that version of child's pose. So now we're going to have flexion in the spine. Rest the forehead down. If the floor is too far away, just get a block or a book or pillows, and you can rest the forehead on that. Feel free to rest the arms alongside the legs to relax the shoulders. Feel that inhale go into the back of the lungs, expanding the lungs, expanding the back of the rib cage. And bringing those arms forward. Begin to lift up onto the knees, into your tabletop, stepping those hands forward. We're going to come down into downward facing dog again, or come up into downward facing dog. Tuck the toes. Externally rotate the arms. I believe for me this just helps to stabilize the shoulders. Inhale, and then exhale, lift up and back, downward facing dog. My hands are still dry, so they're a little slippery. But I'm going to press a little extra down into the fingertips, especially the forefinger and thumb. Jaw relaxed here. Feel free to paddle out the heels if you'd like to. You might shake out the head yes and no several times if that feels good. Long spine. Next inhale, shift those shoulders forward to hover right above the wrists. Okay? If you need to shimmy the feet back a little bit, do so, bringing the heels just above the toes. Press into the palms. Externally rotate the arms. Jaw relaxed, high plank here. One more inhale, and exhale, lower the knees. Walk the hands back to underneath the shoulders. Keep the fingers spread wide. Release the tops of the feet. Inhale to cow. Exhale, round the spine and tuck the toes to cat. Inhale into cow. Release the tops of the feet. Exhale to cat. And inhale back to that neutral spine. Good. Now I'm going to sit back on my heels. If this is a bit too much, we're not going to be here for very long. I'm just taking us off our hands so we can roll the wrists around a little bit. Reversing directions. Wiggling out the fingers. Shake them out. Shimmy the shoulders around a little bit. Good, and then walk right back out to that tabletop. Extend one leg first, press into the toes. Extend the other leg next, pressing into the toes. So we're right into that plank. And then step the right hand right underneath the sternum. Bring the feet together. So I stepped my right foot touching my left foot now. I'm going to roll to the outside of my right foot. Side plank. You can step that left foot or top leg over for kind of a kickstand, reaching the hips up toward the ceiling. Jaw relaxed. One more inhale, and exhale, come right back down to your plank. We're going to do the other side. Step the left hand underneath the sternum, step the left foot close to the right foot. When you're ready, roll over to that left side. Reaching the hips up, feel free to bring the top leg over and in front. Bend the knee, plant the foot for a kickstand. Keep breathing. Strengthening the core. In turn, protecting the spine. One more inhale, and exhale. Come back down. Woo. Good. Inhale here, and exhale downward facing dog. Sigh out your exhales. Next inhale, shift forward to that plank. One more inhale here. Externally rotate those arms. As you exhale, we're going to bend the elbows, come all the way down to the belly. Release the tops of the feet to the back corners of your mat. Hug those elbows in toward the midline of the body. Press down into the tops of the feet to activate the legs. And then we're going to hover the palms just a little bit above your mat. Inhale, lift up through the spine for a mini cobra here. Breathing. Shoulders draw back away from the ears. One more inhale. And exhale. Lower down. Rest the arms along your sides. Let the heels flop and relax. And then we're going to come right back, pressing into the tops of the feet. Palms back underneath the shoulders. Hug the elbows in toward the midline of the body. Hover the hands. When you're ready, inhale, lift up through the spine. One more inhale, just a short one. And exhale, lower down. Rest the other side of your face down on the mat. Relax the arms down along the sides. Relax the legs. And then go ahead and just roll the hips side to side. If you want to bring your chin to the center of the mat, you can. And rolling hips side to side as vigorously as feels good. And then come to stillness, bend the legs at the knees, and then start to wave the legs back and forth. Good, come to the center, release the legs back down, bring the hands, the palms underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes. Inhale, press up to the knees. And then exhale, back into tabletop, but really right through tabletop, and we're going to swing around to our backs. So if you have a block, or a bolster, or a pillow, a really thick pillow, or layers and layers of blankets, you might use that for our last pose. It could be considered, I like to call it supported legs up the wall, especially if you don't have a wall space to come to, or it's also known as supported shoulder stand, okay? So come down to your backs carefully and gently. Bend the knees, plant the feet. If you have a block or whatever you are going to be using, just have that within reach. And then when you're ready, we're going to press into the feet, lift up just enough to slide either the block or the blanket or the pillow underneath here. And then just rest that sacrum right down on your prop. Arms down along the sides. And even right here you can stay, just in supported bridge pose, that's an option. Or one leg at a time, you might bend knees in toward the chest, and then extend each leg toward the ceiling, or the sky. And Birdie is talking. And then feel free to stay here for as long as you'd like. You can also do this up against the wall so that your bum is up against the wall, especially if your hamstrings aren't too tight. If your hamstrings are pretty tight, you might ease your bum away from the wall an inch or a couple inches, several inches, and just rest your legs against the wall. Or you can stay here away from the wall. And just breathe, keeping the jaw nice and relaxed. Feel free to close the eyes. Use any props you like to have if you practice this posture on your own. And then don't rush, but I'm going to help you out of this pose if and when you want to come out of it. I'm just going to bend my knees in toward my chest. Set the foot down one at a time, feet down one at a time. Gently lift the hips, slide the prop out from under, and slowly lower the sacrum back down to the mat. And then even from this position, you can stay, you can extend legs into corpse pose, you can roll over to a side for several minutes or a couple minutes. You can even roll onto your belly. So finding a position that works for you for however long you'd like to take to rest, to breathe, to soak up the benefits of our practice, quick as it was. You can use those poses for back strengthening, like I said, spine strengthening and spine releasing at any given time, morning, noon, or night, especially if you sit a lot, especially if you're active a lot. They are going to be helpful for you in many different contexts. So I hope you enjoy, and I pray healing and recovery to your bodies, to your minds, to your hearts, and bless you, bless you. Namaste.